to me, those changes are not seen within the budget. So that's where we want to make a clarification. I think you had an engagement last week with the members of the committee, and I don't know what have we agreed finally, but like nonetheless, we will proceed with the authentication of the allocations. Yes. So nonetheless, we will continue to authenticate the allocation that has been, approved by the plenary in the appropriation bill. Because the amount I'm seeing here, as you explained, the total amount is 634,211,246. That's what I've seen, and I think we have approved like 722,181,000, something like that, for the Minister of Agriculture. And in the savings we have made was $40 million. 25 was given to Nari, 10 was given to Walik, and 5 was given to Department of Livestock Services. In our discussion with the minister, he told us that Minister of Agriculture has a below the line accounts money from P2R, that's these Japanese grants money. So if the ministry wanted to use it for any purpose that is typically meant to boost the agriculture of this country, they are really pleased to liaise with them and to see how to utilize the fund. Okay. Okay then I have to close my. I get my mouth close to the mic. Yes. What I was saying, there is this below line account under the Minister of Finance for Minister of Agriculture. That's from the K2R, that's the Japanese grants fund, is there. So like the minister was telling the members of the committee that if the Minister of Agriculture want to use the fund in order to boost the development of agriculture in this country, that's to address our local needs, because the projects are there, they are tailor-made for purposes. But like some of our local constraints can only be addressed through the GLF or the money that are typically meant to address those other problems. And that's why this K2R fund is lying down there. So if you are aware, I'm talking to the Director of Budget now. Yes. So if you people can update us how much is that budget portfolio, how much is there for the ministry, then we will know what each and every one of these institutions needs. Then we will try and see what we can do. But the way the technical arms of the agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture, are operating is very sad. They're almost dead, and they need to be resuscitated. Like Department of Planning, sometimes you don't even hear about them. Food technology units, agricultural, how do you call it, agribusiness and economics, which is now cooperative. Even Walik, West African Livestock Innovation Center, West Africa. When you go there, you pity them. It's too bad. The only National Agricultural Research Institute of this country, NARI. And if the project cannot address their problem, if the Gambia government have the money, why not we all sit, and brainstorm and see how best that fund can be utilized to better off those institutions to carry out their core functions. So this is the take of the committee, and that's where we are driving towards. And we want you to also to tell us where these monies are, like the savings we have made, because we haven't seen truly the recommended budget lines we proposed during the budget session. Honorable members, I think the floor is now open for Director of Budget to guide us. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, honorable members. First off, we want to confirm that what was approved at the assembly level is what is actually printed. In terms of envelope, originally, what was the submission was 282 million. And then the preliminary 40 million was added, and then that brought the amount to 322,861,936, right? And then we were also asked to take the input subsidy 400 million to that end. So that what that meant was that the Appropriation Act, the total amount appropriated for agriculture was now 722,861,936. So this is in order. Now, I think we had a discussion with the team last week after the committee meeting, and what we agreed was that where there is a need for internal reallocation within the Ministry of Agriculture, we're open to work with them on that, and all they had to do is request with the Ministry of Finance and said we wish to reallocate from this line to that line, and we will do so. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable members, I think you had the Director of Budget. Yeah. So, like what I want to verify is in the draft budget, $18 million was allocated for NARI on PE. That's personal emolument. And $3 million was allocated for them for their OC. Out of the savings we have made, we gave them an extra $25 million, that's make it $28 million. But like when the approved budget was printed, when you go through it, that PE, it's not reflecting. You don't see it anymore. $18 million is no more there. Okay.
Okay. The last meeting when we are not here, we dealt with that thing, and then we gave them an assignment to go and sit together to see where this problem lies and come to terms, then to come back and report to us whatsoever the take is between them. So for today, that also would have been very important. We listen to them.
So who's
the report they come with, that is between the two of them now. They will.
I remember.
Okay, thank you.
The permanent secretary's report. Madam, are you aware what the honorable members are saying? Mr. Mendy, can you report on behalf of? Okay, then can you please report?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for giving the opportunity to speak on behalf of my permanent secretary and the Minister of Agriculture in general. I think during our last meeting with them, it was the select committee who proposes that we should go out and need to see how best we can synchronize where the gaps are. So when we went out, they raised a lot of things concerned about where some of the funding gaps are. So what we did was that they asked us to go and prepare a request, which was done. We shared with them. In fact, yesterday, when I went to the ministry to meet with my peers to ask me with the accountant to go to the Minister of Finance to engage to find out whether they've received the letter we sent to them. When he went to Director of Budget, the Director of Budget told us that they didn't receive, he didn't see anything like that. Then the accountant forwarded the request through a WhatsApp to him. Before I went back to my office, I engaged the accountant, and the accountant said that he has confirmed he has received that. But now what they are trying to say is that we have to look at some line items and request for a reallocation. But what we have also observed that some of the budget line items they were pointing out during our discussion outside in the assembly building here last week. So those budget line items are GLF though, but they are operating costs for projects. And once you tamper with those operating costs of those projects, those budget line items, that simply means that those projects will end up they suffering. So the problem will not solve. So what we did was that we look at where the gaps are, and then we made a request for allocation of funds to be able to fulfill those gaps. And not meeting the requirement that they are trying to propose that we have to look at some line items and make a reallocation. The funds are already small. And why can you get other savings to make a reallocation? That's why the problem is. And my peers authorizes us that we are not abiding by the reallocation, because there's nothing we can do to make any savings to say we're going to relocate. Once we do that, the projects under the Central Project Coordinating Unit, which is OC, they all know that. Doesn't mean that, and sometimes that's what they also use for the operating cost. Doesn't mean that those projects at the end of the day will not have monies to do their operations. That's why I want to stop for now. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
Meaning that you haven't agreed on anything else?
No,
Concrete.
because we wrote to them and they didn't get back to us until today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members here present. It's not our role as a Ministry of Finance to increase what is already appropriated. That's not our role. So what was appropriated is what is reflected in the budget book. And this was the advice. The conversation that is within our territory, what we control, what we can work with them on, is what they can reallocate from one budget line to the other. But the issue of increasing it, as I believe, is your domain and that of the main plenary as a whole. Just to clarify. Thank you. Yes, what was
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much from officials of agriculture and as well as finance. I just want to understand one or two things, because I think from Mr. Samate rather, it has been clear that what was allocated for agriculture actually reflects in the budget. And if I had the official from the Ministry of Agriculture, the issue that is in hand is the budget items are not properly allocated as per what they really expect in executing their duties. And from your responses as well, from finance, I also heard you saying that you can still do reallocations as per what they request, and they have said they have actually written to the finance ministry, but it seems the letter is not yet received. Okay. No, I just saw his hand up, so Yeah, let me just land,
Very
if possible. What I just want to understand here is, in between the two ministries, what have you agreed on internally? Because I think we ask you to meet and also make an agreement or a bilateral in between the two institutions and come forward and actually give us what you think you have agreed on and what will be the way forward. Because as we speak or as it stands, I don't think we have the powers here either to make any effects that is either to change, that is either to reduce or to add on the budget. So essentially, I think these are clarities that we would really need.
Thank you, Honorable, for those questions. Now, what we agreed was they will write and request for reallocation. That's what we agreed at that meeting of last week. What we received, the letter we received, they're asking for allocation without telling us where within their budget they want the. So we yes, he's correct. We are yet to respond officially, but we work as one team and one government. So we reached out yesterday to the accountant and said, by the way, your letter did not tell us where you want to take the monies from and back and forth, but it's apparent that as of now, they've not yet given us that information so that we can carry out the task necessary. Thank you.
Chair, I think with your permission and also with finance, it will be ideal if you can do some of these things in writing in order to avert future problems, because in the future the ministry might also come in and say you didn't really act on the request or on the communication. So basically, if we can do some of these things in writing in order for it to serve as a reference.
Yes, in fact, the letter is already drafted, and I said yesterday. But before we release it, we engage them to. We're very close. We're in the same square quadrangle. So, if you live in the same house, you don't write letters to your wife or your children. You know, so we see it as one team. Huh? Thank you.
Okay. So I want to thank you again. Here, you remember last week, we looked at where the gaps were coming from as based on what was agreed upon. And we were informed during this August gathering that extra 40 million was given to agriculture. And that 40 million, we also want to make some clarifications. Because you know that you said 25 million was given to Nari, 10 was given to Situwalik, if I'm right, and then 5 was given to DLS. And if at all that those monies were given, they didn't reflect in the approved estimate. We want them to take us through for us to be able to see where the 25 million has been allocated and where the 10 has been allocated and the 5, because based on even some of the development votes that we are supposed to go to the Ministry of Agriculture under admin and under the administration's sub program, and then planning as well, and the part of cooperatives, those development budget line items have been zeroed or been taken out. So we want more clarity on that so that we're able to know where our monies have gone to. Because on all what they have indicated, whether they have taken some money and hide in other budget line items, which I didn't see for myself, then or for all of us to be able to be very clear on some of these allocations. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good morning. Just to add on to that, I just wanted to make a little clarification based on my discussion with him. I think what he is trying to say is that the reallocation from one budget line to another is not practically impossible, because you know, it's going to be a vicious cycle. If you reallocate from one budget line to another budget line, it will affect that budget line, especially the projects. So it's like you cannot move anything from those budget lines to another budget line. So it will come back to the same thing. Yes, so we really need to look into how best we can, where we are going to get this money, I don't know, but it cannot be from this budget because we operated within the ceiling that was given to us.
Thank you, DPS.
And then we came up with an additional supplementary budget, hoping that, you know, what was the ceiling that was given to us will not be enough for us and the projects. I think that's the problem right now we are facing. As at now, some of the project staffs have not been receiving their salaries for 3 months now.
No, Honorable, yes, you want to say something?
Yes, I think okay. The Ministry of Agriculture per se is trying to follow up the 40 million you are talking about that we have got and added, and the 25 million. So if it's still now in one of the or any of the budget lines, or it's been added to any of the allocation, this is just the clarification now we need from Ministry of Finance to tell you that this 40 million is in this one portion. This 25 million is here. This is basically what they are looking for. If not that, then it is not yet added or it's not reflecting. So basically, this is why we are here, and we are not progressing.
Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Member. Director, can we please have one meeting, please? Yeah. No, hold on, DPS. Oh, hold on. Director Budget. Yes, I think specifically what we are trying to find out, where is this savings of 40 million that is embedded within the budget? Where? That's what we want to know. Because for the work I can see 10 million is already added. I can see 10 million already. I've seen that one. But yeah, yes. Can somebody help him with the mic, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First is to highlight that the entries for the inputting for this budget was actually done by staff of the Ministry of Agriculture. So they did the inputting. But nonetheless, on lines where possible reallocations can be done, we can go through that and discuss item by item. So, for example, if you look at, let's start off with the recurrent budget and the issue of 400 million. If you look at your recurrent budget detailed expenditure, detailed estimates of expenditure, you will see an input subsidy. I'm speaking to 251103 input subsidy. 2021 was 0. 2022 was 0, and in 2023 that's 400 million.
Yes.
So the 400 million
is there.
Yes. Okay. Now, if you look at the development budget, for example, there are areas where, within DPS, where we can do reallocations. If you look at the CPCU 0263, for example, in 2021 it was 10 million, 2022 10 million, in 2023 2.5 million. That's not realistic. And these are areas where adjustments need to happen within the budget. Now, if you go to operating cost under the central government of the Gambia service sources 01001 22221124 operating cost GLF. That operating cost was actually in 2021 was 5.8 million. In 2022, 2.5 million. In 2023, it jumped to 29.8 million. Now, this is one area perhaps where the 25 million went, but we can confirm the greater details of these entries. But what I'm saying this is internally there are areas where we can do adjustments, reallocations. That is established internally. We just need to the two teams need to sit together, and that's why we said, I mean, it's your budget. It's not for us to tell you where you take money from, where you take it. You know your priorities more than us. So you tell us within your budget where you want to take money. I'm just so citing these examples so we know that it's not realistic to jump from 2.5 million last year to almost 30 million. And those monies are there. You probably will not be able to use all that money in that line anyway, where you have shortfalls elsewhere. So, Mr. Chairman, in the interest of saving time, I think we encourage them to look closely inwards and guide us and tell us where they want us to readjust. And then we'll adjust with them in the earliest possible time. As soon as we have that information, we'll action the same day. We can make that promise to save time.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's well. That Digi, it's okay. Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you very much, Chairman, for giving me the platform. So I've been navigating through the budget, but the area of concern was our area, Jilma Gambia Livestock Marketing Agency. I realized that the budget coded 1715-402 Jilma, the operational cost is 6.2 million, but operational costs normally concurrently merge with the operational expenses, which is not found in the budget and is nowhere to be seen in the budget. I don't know if it's an oversight or you people have an option or another alternative to implement on. But what I realize is we should have what operational cost. We normally take care of our salaries, salary-related payments, and all those stuff. But in the budget, it is nowhere to be found, and which is an area of concern for us.
I think it resulted in the same thing as it was said by the director of budgets, that this is something internal. I think you will have to work together with the director of budget and that's it at once and for all. Yes.
Just to clarify,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Okay.
What?
I can see that. Yes, it's working now.
Mr. Chairman, we accept that there is an opportunity to reallocate to priority areas. We accept. But also we want to highlight that the inputting was actually done by Ministry of Agriculture staff. But to save time, I mean, this back and forth will not help us. What is important now is where do we reallocate? We work with you and reallocate. End of story. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Mendy, we don't want to, be responding one another here. No, allow me to come in, please. Allow me to come in, please. I think this is pure internal issue. The only thing we are not going to compromise is the amount appropriated or approved by the plenary. We don't want to joke with that figure. So that's what we want it to be reflected in a realistic manner. And we want to see the budget lines we identified. We want to see these monies there. That's what you want to see. But like if the inputting is done by the Minister of Agriculture, as been said by the Director of Budget, I think it's better you call the the departmental heads, because you cannot do this in their absence. If you do it in their absence, there will always discrepancies of this nature. Please work with them closely and test this issue out once and for all. We just want these things to be closed now, and we don't want to call you people for this particular issue again, please. And please, Director Budget, can you please, when you go back, please update us about this Japanese grant bucket below the line account money. We want to know. Yes, yeah. Is it K2R?
Yes, can I come there?
Okay, please.
Okay, good morning, and want to thank you for giving me the floor. I think we have to understand the project management unit. All these operation costs allocated to the projects are binding and signed by the Ministry of Finance and the donors. So those operational costs which is citing cannot be moved to other side. As far as we are concerned, even this allocation this year is far below the mandate, the approved signed financing agreement which the government have signed with the donors. As I'm speaking, some project staff are without salaries for 3 months. They are paid half salary because the GLF is not forthcoming. So we have been going in and out. So the limited amount allocated, if you want to move that to other side again, that means all this project will close down.
It's only a problem, Mr. Marina. So now go and work it out.
Yes.
With the ministry, yes, and with Director of Budget, and make sure that you do the needful.
Yes.
Yes.
And
that's what we can recommend.
And for the KR, I think we have to understand the dynamic behind KR. KR is not a free fund which is lying down for any institution can use. It is a fund owned technically by the Japan government, but for Gambia government. And when you want to use that fund, there are procedures and processes laid down to access that fund.
That's what you want to do exactly.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yes.
So a project has to be conceived, and that funds has to go directly to the vulnerable farmers. It cannot be used for operational costs of government institutions.
Exactly.
So saying that using that fund for other institutions to use it for their operations and all these things, I don't think that will be allowed by the Japanese government. Let's face the reality and let the government of the Gambia see through Ministry of Finance to support the institutions to operate. So because even that we want to assess, it will take 6 months to conceive a project and send to Japan and approve through Ministry of Foreign Affairs to come to BIN. It's almost a year to get access to those funds. So I think the best thing, we work with finance, we see where it's possible, we support this institution through the GLF. I think that's the way forward.
Okay. Go. And then we want to take the floor. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. I think we should really move from where we are. Actually, we understand that with the recurrent budget, there is nothing that you can call, which is clearly stated by the finance guy. But again, we have an opportunity to actually tap on the development budget, even though there are limited resources. But again, I think agriculture as an institution need to prioritize what they think could really correspond with the need of the farmers. Because here, the bone of contention, what I'm seeing here is more of, we're looking at more of our operational cost, not actually what should be plowed back to the farmers. And I think the plights are very important here. As much as it is also important to direct our finances to operations, I also want to believe that we need to reconsider how we think these funds should be directed, more especially around the development budget. And I think you have actually given us an answer, Mr. Marina. That is to say, as much as the Japanese fund, it's not really meant to service, let's say, operations, and then there's this window for it to be used to actually support farming development in the Gambia. I think what we should do here, more especially knowing that agriculture has the expertise to actually sit out there, develop a concept note that would actually pay a dividend to the lives and livelihood of the farmers than actually saying it will take time, it isn't easy and all not. I think we should give it all out in order to access that fund than allowing that fund to be lying somewhere when actually it cannot be utilized. For me, I think these are some of my observations. And also to the Ministry of Agriculture, I think you need to go back and better study the budget and understand what were the allocations, because with my understanding, what was approved was on the basis of what actually the ministry sent as a draft budget. And during the bilaterals, these were things that we actually discussed around to ensure that we also able to make more of lobbying to get extra amount that will be given to the Ministry of Agriculture in order to impact on our farming communities. So we cannot go just a quarter way of the year and then we start to reflect more on issues. I think we really need to find a way out. We need to find a solution, sit together as a family and trash out this problem and then move on. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I think you have said it all. That's what we need to do exactly. Marina, the K2R fund line down there is for the Gambian people, it's for our farmers, it's for the ministry. So if the all the departments come together and conceive a sellable project, therefore it's going to impact the life and livelihood of Gambian farmers. So that's what we are talking about. And the fund has to be implemented by the departments within the ministry. Nothing more, nothing less. Whatever you buy or you do, it has to pass through the departments. So let the department develop something and then use the fund. Why do you have to leave it lying down there?
Concepts have been developed. These are bilateral from government to government.
Okay.
So we don't have control over that. I think over last year, 2 or 3 concepts have been sent.
Thank you.
Still, we are waiting for the approval.
Thank you. Well, the world is going through crisis. The Ukraine war, the COVID-19, and the solution to get out of from this crisis is only through agriculture. Yes, because we have to do everything possible to feed the population and to feed our animals. And we cannot do it without, producing. So we either produce or perish. The ball is in our court to decide now. So thank you very much for coming. I think we are at a better position to close these meetings, and we employ on you to go and meet and discuss and find a solution. So Minister of Finance knows that the food you have on the table is from agriculture, so it's better you please assist them. So thank you. Yes, the meeting is now closed, then go and do the needful and then report back to the committee. Mr. Mendy, with your lieutenants, go and work with the Minister of Finance, please. Thank you.